Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel and this video presentation on testing these two lovely industrial fans that run on your wall socket voltage, AC, that is 220 volts. This is still Dave or David, and in this video we're going to be using the services of this auto transformer or variac ergo variable transformer in order to power these two fans to the desired voltage, to see how they react when they start spinning, at which voltage, how loud they are, and of course how is with the airflow. So again, I'll be using the services of my trusty multimeter right here in order to remind me or be in track with voltage, so I won't add too much voltage to the fans and possibly burn something up. So that will be my good indicator. And of course I have an extra alligator clip here, probably for ground, but I probably think I won't be needing this. And here, you don't see it, I also have my screwdriver in order to secure everything into place. All there is left to do is to show you the fan, both fans itself, and comment a little bit on their features, or at least what I was able to gather up from the internet, because these are really old fans. I'm sure they are almost 30 years old, or at least that much time they've been laying in the workshop. So you have these, this is where the wires go in or out. This is where you would connect your AC power to. Of course you have the grounding wire, and here you have the indication on through which side the air is blown in and blown outside, and in which direction does the rotor spin. And the body itself is cast aluminum, if I'm not mistaken. This side is broken, so I'm really sorry for that. It'll be much more harder to sell it. Or maybe not, I don't know. You can still fixate it through these 3 holes right here. So 3 bolts, at least 3 bolts will be holding it into place. The actual blade is made out of 7 blades. It's metallic. Alright, now I can show you the information that is etched or printed on this body. There you go. Accordingly to the specifications, the power that this fan draws is somewhere between 40 and almost 50 watts, and the speed to which this rotor rotates is somewhere between 3500 and 4200 revolutions per minute, or RPM. And the airflow is supposedly to be rated at about 128 CFM, and the weight of this, it weighs almost a little under than 700 grams, so, but still it feels kind of light in your hand. Nevertheless, we'll be testing this very soon. Now this next fan actually feels a little bit heavier than the first one, and it has a detachable front faceplate or a grill mask, and pretty much the same design as it is. You have 3 screws here that hold the rotor in place. Again, 2 wires to which your AC would go, and of course the grounding wire which is attached to the entire body as such. And these are the information. I wasn't able to find anything on this fan in terms of rotation speed, airflow, noise, So the only thing I know is that it has, as you can see, 5 blades instead of 7, and it is a little bit, I think it is shorter than its predecessor. This one is, well, it's a square design, so one side is, I think it is 11.2 centimeters by 11.2 centimeters, and the thickness is somewhere around 5 centimeters. So it's a little bit thicker than the previous one, which is thick only about, I think, barely 4 centimeters or so. Yeah, this one is 3.8 centimeters in thickness, and it is a much more bigger one. One side is almost 13 centimeters, 12.7 to be precise. So that's pretty much about it for this one. In a few moments we'll be testing both of these to see how they perform when powered on. So the Variac is up and running. It's connected to the AC extension power cord via this black cable. The white secondary cable has already been attached to my probe test leads of my multimeter, and of course to the corresponding power in wires from the fan, and of course the ground wire that is connected to the case. More the metallic housing has also been connected to the corresponding ground wire of this cable. I'll zoom in. This is up close how it looks like. Of course, as I mentioned in the Variac introduction video, polarity of course doesn't matter because this is AC. The only thing that is really important here is that you have the ground wire connected to the corresponding ground wire of your cable through this connector or coupling. But what is really important, among other things, is also that I have the multimeter connected or set into the correct scale or measuring range for the AC voltage, because this fan is needed in order to be powered. It requires between 200 and 240 volts, so the scale has to be higher than 200 volts so that I won't burn up anything on the multimeter. So now what is left to do is only start turning that knob clockwise, and we'll start to notice when the fan blades of the fan will start to spin. Maybe this isn't the best viewing angle. Maybe I'll position the fan in the upright position, but nevertheless, let's give it a go. Decided to obey my own advice, and I've placed the fan in the upright position to see whether this will be a much more better viewing angle or overall experience. So now let's start with 50 volts AC for starters to see whether the blades start to turn. So 50 volts and still nothing. Yep. All right, let's go up a bit. We have some movement at about 65 volts. All right, it's very slow. Maybe it needs some extra juice. So at about 75, 76, we definitely have some movement. Definitely. All right, let's go up. Now this would be the AC voltage equivalent to the one in US, 110, 115 volts. You can hear a little bit the fan running, some noise. I'm also feeling some of its cooling effects because the air is blowing towards me. Hope I won't get pneumonia. Alright, let's go up again for 50 volts. Now you can really start to feel the cooling effect or the airflow of this fan, and the noise, the audibility of the fan has also gone up. This fan is rated to work in the range of 200 to 230 or 35 volts, so we'll go all the way up to there. So now we're at the rated lower voltage area, 200 volts, and the airflow, whew, it's really blowing. It's also quite loud, something that if I was to compare it would be equivalent to a really old one, Thermaltake 6000 or 7000 RPM fan on a CPU, for instance. That's how I would make an equivalent estimation how loud it is at this voltage. So let's go to the upper limit, 235. Now this is the maximum AC voltage that this fan can absorb. When I'm touching it, I'm also feeling a little bit the vibrations. But other than that, it works perfectly. It's sucking in air really good and blowing it out. So I'm going to turn into a popsicle very soon if I don't turn this down. So this is pretty much the end of the first part of this presentation. Now in the second one, I'm going to be connecting the other fan in the same manner and testing it also to see how that one performs. Now I have the other fan set up and properly connected, all the wires, everything as before. Maybe I can zoom in again. The same procedure as before. The ground goes to the ground, and then this doesn't matter how it goes as long as it is connected in this manner. I have the multimeter test probe leads inserted in as well. I've tightened all of the 3 nuts as much as possible. If anything will come loose during the video, then you'll know that it wasn't done right. The only indication when you will see the blades or the rotor start turning will be this small opening right here, because this fan is a bit thicker, about 1 centimeter or a little bit more than the previous one, so this isn't a good position in order to indicate at which voltage the fan will start to make it spin or rotate. But nevertheless, I'll do my best. It's the same procedure again as the previous one. We'll start with 50 volts AC, and we'll see if during this hole we'll see any movement. So as you can see, we have movement of the blades or the rotor already at 50 volts, so much more sensitive apparently. Perfect. Alright, let's increase it again by 50 volts. You can also hear the fan a little bit. Yeah, now it's really turning up. Again, we're now at the equal US AC wall socket voltage. The fan is a little bit loud, but of course the direction in which the air is blowing is in that direction, so I'm not getting cooled again, fortunately. You also see the indication here on the housing where it spins, where it blows air out. Alright, let's go up. Now this is really loud. In comparison to the previous one, I think this one is a bit louder. Alright, let's go. Now this one is rated to run at between 220 and 230 volts. I'm going to hold it just in case. So we're at the lower level of the first nominal voltage. Ooh, it's really blowing. As long as I'm not getting chilled. So it's loud, really loud. Now this is the maximum that it is rated to work. So it is a loud fan. I would say a little bit louder than the previous one, but still, as you can see, in perfect working order. So this is pretty much about it in regards to this video presentation. I've said pretty much everything that I wanted to say. If you like this presentation on these two tests that I made, let me know in the comment section below. So the proverbial like, share, comment, subscribe is in place. And we'll see you in the next video when I'll be testing probably another set of fans or some really miniaturized, at least to my standards, induction motors. But until then, I'm saying goodbye.